Hindi naman maubos eh. Baunin niyo bukas.
Failure is not an option, as Guy said. Two is
Siguro kaya naman natin sa piraso.
administration's on the line. And three is taxes will go up, as was said, for everybody that doesn't pass. I think they
Alis
need
na tayo
forcing
pag alis ni
that
Manong
also.
Ting.
They need the focus
Ha?
of the mind of the police draft
Alis tayo pag alis ni Manong Ting.
You're better off with a
Kevin,
small
tayo.
than a slightly larger one. Because no one basically can go
6:30.
back. Will never be
6:30?
I predict that they will concede.
Kaya nga. Kaya umalis tayo hanggang nandito siya.
Away, and they'll pass it. And then the job for the speaker is going to be passing what comes back from the Senate.
Hindi na tayo
That's to
mag-alis
me the bigger
tayo.
challenge.
Sa dana lang tayo
We haven't
mag-alisa.
left a lot of steps to this. Guy,
Sabihin sa
meantime,
kanya.
the Golden Dome project. Take a listen to this.
Magpayahin tayo.
I promise the American people that I will
Lemon,
build
kape
a
o chocolate?
missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. A lot of done in about 3
Yan, live?
years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they're launched from space. Yeah, and President Reagan, his nickname is Stalwart, tried to do it, never got across the finish line. If you look at the price tag, Guy, $25 billion allocated in the proposed defense budget, $542 billion estimated cost over 20 years. But something the president says he's committed to.
Okay, you mentioned President Reagan. This was one of his major proposals. It was ridiculed as Star Wars. He called it Strategic Defense Initiative. And if this project comes to fruition, it will be a fulfillment of that Reagan vision. And it's interesting because President Trump today was talking about the Iron Dome, not the Golden Dome, but the smaller one, which is what Israel has used to great effect now for years. He's making the case this is a much more sophisticated, wider scope version of that for the American homeland. And if they move forward with this, I think Americans would feel, for the most part, like the
Bakit
response should be
full ako?
Godspeed.
Ha?
Maybe
Ang
with all
ano
the
ko, busog ako, sabi ko.
it seems like there might be bipartisan support for something like
Ako,
this.
kain.
For maybe, but that price tag, 500, what is it, $500 billion?
Yeah.
$542 billion, which we know that price tag is gonna keep going up and up and up. Whether there's the stomach for future Congresses to pay for that, or an administration that is not
It's so
a Republican
quiet.
administration to continue to pay
Oh.
for that. that
Oh,
would be-
I know why.
Yeah, that's why.
Because she's eating!
More trips to the Middle East market. President says he can.
We have 5 minutes. I'm quiet.
Like in shop for the technology that
You know I tease you.
in place is
Only because I love
right.
you.
It lulls a
Yeah.
country into a
Yeah.
sense that they can't be harmed.
If I didn't love you, I wouldn't tease you.
If the enemy figures out a way to get around the defense.
I'm going away now.
Or it
Bye.
just doesn't work. And whatever price tag is
Here, I'm
it's
gonna go
complicated
get
technology.
do some water now.
No.
All right, next up, if you would, up next, celebrity politics, and the Secretary of State up on Capitol Hill. Did you see this today? We'll also have Tuesday extras.
Did you get everything you want to do today?
For an animal,
Oh, yeah.
an animal strain can help us to keep our animal for a lifetime. It's backed by science. It is clinically
Well, my favorite
proven
burrito
to
from there,
strengthen our teeth.
they have a
I
bean
recommend this
burrito.
toothpaste to everybody.
Just
it's really
beans?
an amazing product.
Pinto beans. With a little sauce in it. I
Yeah.
love that, man. And it's
Diyan mo
all
ako
squishy.
kanchi din.
It's a burrito.
High absorption magnesium glycinate helps me get the full benefits of magnesium.
Crunchy. That's not crunchy.
Hindi lang. Ganyan. Ganyan lang. Ito.
Our award-winning fleet of small ships offers an authentic and personalized
Dami
experience
pala
that
to.
you won't find anywhere else.
Tama na ako.
Running seaports off spectacular islands along the protected
Tama ka na?
coastline. Visit
Bakit?
AmericanCruiseLines.com.
Kain pa. Mamaya kukutumin ka.
American Cruise Lines. Small ship cruising done perfectly.
Imagine checking your own heart with medical precision from anywhere. Meet Cardio
Hello.
Mobile 6L, the 6-lead personal EKG that gives you 6 views of your heart. With Cardio Mobile 6L, you can get 6 times more heart data than any smartwatch.
Cardio Mobile 6L is my doctor. 6 times the information that you would need to help with diagnosis.
The more data, the better decision I will make about caring for your cardiovascular health.
Cardio Mobile 6L is FDA cleared to detect 3 of the most common arrhythmias, including atrial fibrillation, a leading can cause a stroke.
Gusto niyo magdala bukas ng
Using the rice cups
meat over na beef?
that I am not
Baon ninyo?
Ayoko.
Ano?
Baka maano lang yun.
Check your heart with Cardio Mobile 6 Up, the 6-lead personal EKG that gives you more heart data than any smartwatch. On sale now for a limited time
Naglaw.
at cardio.com or Amazon. When your home needs work, where do you go? Angie?
That's where Angie came in.
With Angie, find top-rated pros in your area, plus compare quotes and pricing to help you get all your jobs done well. Find top-rated pros in your area at Angie.com. I guess I'm not the easiest person to please. I like things just right. That's why I love Redford's home recommendations. They know what I want even
Kung
before I
ganito
do.
pala ang kinakain ko.
Just
Kakain drink na ngayon.
yeah.
Mamamatay agad ako.
Yeah. Neutrogena
Hinahanap
offers
ng tiyan ko yung
your metabolic
bigas.
protection,
Ay yung
absorbs
kanin.
so well, it's easy to forget you're wearing it. It smells great. You did. Wait, did I? You did. Yes, you did. Sunscreen you can't feel.
Wounded Warrior Project empowers post-9/11 veterans and their families with life-changing.
Ang dumi ng panina ako, ano?
I realize I can be successful in a
Hindi na isa, no? Yung banyo.
Stand by warriors.
Lalo na yung lababo nila pag nagtututubras.
They were by my side in the hospital, and they're still
Lumatak sa mahal.
Hindi sila marunong talaga.
community and advocacy. We're proving
Tamad sila sa
is possible. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/connect. When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity. Many people
Pag may bisita sila, yun ang unang makikita nila
long
yung
after it's done.
banyo nila.
You as the homeowner
Yung
think
kusina.
you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices, and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home?
Saan galing tutsirol na yan?
Already a victim
Huh?
at
Tutsirol.
homelock.com.
Kain niya kanina.
Enjoy your
Hindi daw
risk-free
binili.
travel.
Yan po.
Pilipinas yan eh.
Can you hear me?
Yung tutsirol, Pilipinas yan.
Everybody hear me? Sure can.
Gusto mo?
I sure can.
So, can you hear well?
Sure can.
Hear well, feel well. From your first appointment, try our new nearly invisible solution risk-free. Call 1-800-234-7090 now.
What you want to do is save hundreds with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to. Only pay if you
Isa pa, babe.
Hmm?
Isa pa.
Gutom pa? Gusto mo nagutom ka?
You openly doubted judicial orders. When asked whether you have been in touch with El Salvador to return Abrego Garcia, you boasted, quote,
Ha?
I would never tell you that. I have to tell you directly personally that I regret voting for Secretary of State.
Do you regret for voting for me?
Bakit kunti lang yung sauce?
Ang dami mo.
Bigyan mo ako ng ano, Smile.
And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and that guy
Kala ko wala na.
in the data division.
At
Hot yan eh. Ayoko ng hot.
In that hearing today, Robert Powell, guy, it was quite something. You know, he had 100 votes. His colleagues all voted. Some animosity there.
Yeah, Rubio got it and he gave it right back. And I think probably the bases of both parties, that's what they saw from the people on their side in that clip that you just played. I heard from Republicans today who were really fired up about how Rubio really shot right back at Pat Collins, someone who has
nalagay mo
earned
dito.
a lot of contempt, especially recently on the political right. I
Apan
would
mo
point
pala.
out that
Mamaya.
about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Rubio was
Tututubras
described
na.
as a
Tapos
game
matulog
maker.
may
He
ganun.
was
Dumandami sila.
could also add one
Sa
thing to that
17.
list in addition
Ay,
to being a legal
kanina
immigrant.
na
You
16
have
yan.
Holland jump in.
Naman sila na parang ganito.
Unsubstantiated. I would argue that it
Ayoko
actually
nito.
is substantiated
Tapos ko na.
over multiple courses of due process in recent years, and Rubio was more than willing to lean into that argument.
Here's a few more Q&As with the lawmakers and Secretary. is it still a policy that they cannot be allowed to enrich at all in Iran?
Those are ongoing, I hope to be ongoing negotiations, because the alternative would be far worse, in my view, but maybe necessary. But we hope that we can reach an agreement with Iran.
Do you support that sanctions bill?
And look, it may come to that point. If in fact it is clear that the Russians are not interested in a peace deal and they just want to keep fighting a war, it may very well come to that point.
How do you envision a transition to a non-Hamas security and governance?
So we've obviously engaged with our regional partners to come up with the constructs of what that looks like.
Hello.
Mark, his stock has gone up. I think in the president's eyes, it's
How are you?
him and in South Dakota.
Yeah, when he was back in the Florida legislature, he was tagged as someone destined for, a national profile. And his presidential campaign disappointed his supporters, but he is just one of the stars of this administration. Even if you don't agree with his policies, his knowledge of policy, his knowledge, his rhetoric, his confidence, and his winning over MAGA.
Good.
When a rut spell with MAGA over immigration, and now he is one of the heroes of the movement. And I said earlier today, I'll say it again, I really do think J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio could end up being a preordained ticket in 2028, unlike we've ever seen before.
The question is, Amy, who's on top?
Right. I don't know the last time that a sitting vice president has lost a nomination. I think you have to go back maybe to the 50s. So that
Thank
puts him
you.
in a better position. Vice president.
Do you, let's talk about Elon Musk. He's obviously stepping back a bit, and also saying he's stepping back on political spending. Nicholas.
I think, in terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
Is it because of blowback?
Well, if I see a reason to do political spending in the future, I will do it. I do not currently see a reason.
Yeah, well, listen, I think that Democrats are hoping that he follows through on that pledge because he was a big subject not just for Donald Trump, but to also nail down Republicans. Look, I think this is a really interesting point that is going to be critical to keep watching in 2026. Somebody like Elon Musk represents, in this case, somebody who was really invested in Donald Trump, who was really invested
I'm
in
good, guys.
going to Donald Trump.
How's everyone?
Who in 2024 turned out for Donald Trump. They liked him and they liked his message. But they're not quite as invested when it comes to the
Thank you for the
Republican
thumbs
Party
up.
approach, or just whether or not Republicans keep control of the House, or which side they keep. So I think he is sort of a symbol in many ways of the challenge of keeping together the Trump coalition when Trump's not on the ballot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Guy, final word.
I agree. I think Democrats are praying towards heaven that this is not a head thing and that he is going to scale back the spending because they prefer their billionaires do all the spending.
All right, panel, thanks so much. Okay, it's Tuesday. Time for Tuesday Extras. Kelly asks, what story or trend do you think isn't getting enough media attention right now but should be? I asked the president about the investigation into the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. We're still trying to get answers. His answer made me want to ask more questions. I think that there's more there. We're following a number of things. Buddy's mom posed the questions you asked the dignitaries during the Middle East. We're thoughtful and designed to list the formal responses. Do you develop those questions? Do you have staff?
I don't understand.
No, I draft the questions. I do send out a wide net to my colleagues and say, if you have something good, send it.
Speak
And,
English.
and sometimes I get good ones that way too. So, what cabinet member has impressed you the most so far? Well, we just talked about it. I think Secretary of State Rubio is on the ascent, as is the Treasury Secretary Bessent, in the president's eyes as well. Tomorrow on Special Report, Delaware Democratic Senator Chris Coons and Nebraska Republican Senator Pete Ricketts join us for our Common Ground segment. We'll discuss their effort that would enable Taiwan to receive arms and supplies amid threats from China. Thank you for inviting us into your home tonight. That's it for this special report. Fair, balanced, and still unafraid. The Ingram Angle is next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingram. This is the Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you for joining us. Democrats threaten more attacks against ICE.
I promise you, there's going to be more unnoticed visit my colleagues where they show up, and they better be let in.
Nobody tell Fang Fang. Plus, liberals, they're no match for Marco.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State.
First of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job.
And he's done so much for the country already, and Elon reveals what's next.
In terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
Plus, Dog the Bounty Hunter is here on the New Orleans jailbreak. But first, the lies they tell. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, is it really news that the Biden administration, Hill Democrats, and all their buddies in the media lie nonstop? Well, it's not to anyone who watched The Angle over the past several years. And now, I don't give or intend to give any more media play to CNN's Jake Tapper, just so he can promote his CYA book documenting Biden's decline. The time to write that book was maybe 3 years ago, honey, when it mattered to something more than your own bottom line. Biden's cognitive collapse was visible to the naked eye since at least 2019. He was forgetting names, stumbling over basic thoughts, all the telltale signs of dementia's onset. The sanctimonious CNN anchors, the liberal think tank types, saw what the rest of us saw, and as time went on, the Democrats held their breath every time Biden made a public appearance or gave an interview.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Well, now we don't need a book written by one of the cover-up's primary collaborators to tell us how the White House tried to conceal his condition or prop him up. These are all clips
I'm full.
we did in early March 2020.
By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, you switched on me. That's my wife, this is my sister. They switched on me. The leader of who should have been the governor.
Who's there?
African-American woman was president. My boss, 40 years later to the month, in January of 2012, actually 2013, no wait a minute, you got elected 2012, January 13.
Who's in there?
Joe Biden, I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
5 years ago, kids. That was before the pandemic was declared, long before the election. Yeah, it was weekend at Biden's. They were propping him up. So where were these intrepid journalists then? If the Bidens and their doctors were refusing to divulge a cancer diagnosis, mental slippage, then they were likely emboldened by knowing that they had a willing press.
I'm full now.
And a Democrat cover-up artist
Huh.
that didn't care.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I want somebody to tell me, well, when did you know it was bad? If you knew, why did you wait? If you're telling me that hundreds of people knew that he was not able to do his job, then where the hell was everybody?
Whoopi, where the hell was everybody? Well, where the hell was everyone, Whoopi? They were still peddling the Russian collusion farce. They were still trying to paint Trump as an autocrat. Autocrat and wait
Manang
once
King,
again. These were-
lagay ko lang dito.
Of course they were burying facts.
Lagay ko lang sa table.
3 weeks before
Bakit si Paul?
the election, the New York Post publishes its first story about the included a reference to President Biden's meeting with one of his son's business associates.
I'll be right back.
But then we learned that Tony Blinken helped orchestrate a disinformation campaign by former Intel officials who all insisted that the laptop was fake. It was all lies. The press, the Democrats, chose to ignore the obvious. So the evidence pointed to the inescapable conclusion that the Bidens were selling influence and had been, by the way, for years. And Anyone remember James Comer's investigation? Because he found that there were 20 shell companies set up to hide shady foreign payments, and also found that Joe Biden lied repeatedly about his involvement in these schemes that all enriched the Bidens to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
Saan sa'yo ubos na? Bakit? Ha? Oh. Busog. Paborito mo to? Kakwal. Ha? Ha?
Habang nagbibiyahe tayo tayo.
Okay. Ah. Busog na naman. Wala pa yung Team Maharot ah. Wala ka to rin. Suot mo na lang po bukas. Yung short, hindi na. Short pa rin. Short pa rin.
And this morning, we've got troubling reports of bedbug outbreaks across the U.S.
Bye-bye!